I mean, it's definitely impacting every industry. I don't know how long it's going to take to replace like the client facing or like the people side of the business. Like you've seen it, especially in like trading, for example, like quant trading and a lot of machine learning algorithms that that replace humans. So like you definitely see it evolve over time.
Right.
But I mean, there's still going to be a lot of finance jobs.
I always say that, like, I think it's helpful if you have the ability in undergrad to, to build skills in some level of technology, whether information, kind of some sort of something that's interesting to you, but definitely helpful to kind of balance with the finance degree, etc. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I think one of the two skill sets in finance that you build up towards over the career isn't the financial modeling or the market research and things like that. I think it's the ability to think about companies and strategies and understand and build them. And then number two is to make investing judgment decisions on these things, which both of those, in terms of strategic decision making, look, I think we can argue whether that's going to get disrupted a lot. I mean, that understanding business and that part and the people dynamic, and then the idea of kind of judgment around investing decisions are very hard to disagree.
That's one thing we haven't discussed, but investing, like building that mindset around investing, like you can do it now. Like you probably have a bit of money on the side, and like doesn't need to be a big amount. Like open a trading account and start trading like that. What makes a good investor is pattern recognition and being able to like recognize stuff that you've seen and being able to build that mindset. And like I love trading, and I started trading before I got in when I was in high school. I traded all the way in college. I stopped trading when I was in banking because you cannot trade when you're in banking, so it was pretty sad, and then got back to it when I moved to DC.
I think in addition to that, another thing I advise people to do is pick up a company's like earnings report or presentation or 10K and learn about the business models of these companies, right? I think that's whether you go into banking, consulting, finance, in undergrad, right? I think understanding how companies work, how they make money, what kind of strategy they have, how do they actually operate, how do they actually make money and succeed and influence the competition is super. So pick an industry that you like.
That's what Warren Buffett spends his day doing.
Exactly.
So.
I think people don't do. I think that's the one thing I advise, and the other thing is look at industry publications, like get subscriptions to Wall Street Journals, deal books, etc. It's going to be really challenging up front to do, but I think over time it actually really helps. I want to spend
just to give you on that point, just to give you an example. When I interview people at SoftBank, my favorite line of questions is, "What's your favorite SoftBank investment?" So like by asking that question, I kind of probe if they've been looking at what SoftBank has been doing, and I want to see also what the answer is. Like, are they going to take Uber? Like everyone knows that SoftBank owns Uber, but like, what are the other? So like, they come back, oh, I don't know, Clutter. And I'm like, okay, what are the 5 things that you would like to know about the business to decide if it's a good investment or not?
That's a great question.
So like, even obviously it's private companies, so I don't know, like it's tough to find information out there, but I want to see what's their mindset. Like, what are they thinking about? So like, especially in DC, I would be looking for something along the line of like, at least a question about management, these are questions about like financials, revenue growth, like gross margin, contribution margin, or questions around like unit level economics, like terms that are like specific to DC, but like customer retention, lifetime value to customer acquisition cost, and definitely one about valuation. Like a lot of people do not ask, like, if I'm making an investment, what I'm buying is not just a company, like I'm buying it at a certain price. So like, and then we double click and we dig into it. And then it allows me to like check if they did their work on SoftBank and check if like, how do they think as an investor?
That is a great answer, because I think that's a great point. I think actually that's a really good question, and it gets to a couple of things. So what are the questions you'd like to know? One is your curiosity about, number 2, how do you think as an investor, like what are the areas you're going to diligence if you're going to make this investment? Number 3, like valuation, like, well, how are you going to financially understand this model, etc. Number 4, management, like understanding, like, is this a good strategy? Is it good? Because I think as a private equity, venture capital, or even in banking or consulting, the strategy and the management team is like 50% of the execution ability, 50% of skill. I think that's great. I think just being prepared, and the way you can prepare for those things is just understanding business models and critically thinking about them. I think personal trading or not, critically thinking about what makes things. And a lot of the folks in this room are in investment groups, etc. But I think continuing to challenge yourself in that environment really is great.
And by the way, if that's something that doesn't interest you, then maybe like private equity or venture capital is not for you. Like you're able to test out. Like, there are a lot of amazing jobs out there. Like it's not, you can decide. Like I remember when I was in school and discussing with friends, like how can you decide if it's the right job for you or not? Well, test it out. Like you can do it on your own to an extent, and then you realize if it's for you.
I agree with you. I think internships, school year internships, or just understanding and talking to people what they do is a great way to
Yeah.
figure out if it's for you or not. Last thing I'll say, kind of, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. So kind of as you think about just kind of forgetting recruiting, for instance, but kind of putting your investor hat on, right? So what do you think, from the tech side, investing side, what are things that really are exciting to you as an investor in the next, like, call it 3 years, 2 to 3 years?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. It could be
I don't know.
trends, it could be, industries, I don't know, anything.
I'm afraid, I mean, it's not something that is exciting, but I'm
Yeah.
afraid with valuation right now.
Okay.
I think
as we all are, yeah.
the
Yeah.
low interest rates means that there's so much money that is being deployed across asset classes like public markets and alternative asset classes like private equity and venture capital, and there's so much money chasing so few deals that it's like everyone is throwing money after
Sure.
money, and it's like I think valuation is super expensive. So as an investor, extremely worried on that side.
Yeah.
But it is what it
Does
is.
it mean then you're just trying to be much more disciplined and, like, obviously
Yeah, I think you gotta
like
be super
you don't
disciplined.
make as many deals and you kind of wait
Exactly.
as plays out. I agree with you. I think early part of the cycle there were a lot of good businesses that came more. I think as we get later and later in the cycle, you get, I think, less great business models, you get less great deals, and I think then, but you still have a lot of money.
I'm not saying it's 2001 or 2008, but
Right.
it might be. Like history doesn't repeat itself, but
Yeah,
it's similar.
And then from the tech side, you're seeing pretty much tech disrupting a lot of businesses. Some of these businesses maybe don't make money yet. Like, so what do you think that is that going to, in terms of, like, are you looking for pattern to profitability? Are you looking for kind of just take as much market share as possible? Like, what do you look at?
I mean, in terms to go back to your initial question as well, like tech trends, I think like autonomous driving is one that's pretty exciting. Super early stage.
But how far away do you think we're from that?
Probably in terms of commercialization and the early models, like definitely within 5 years.
I agree.
I've been spending a fair amount of time in agriculture tech.
Okay.
All like vertical farming, all the novel forms of meat, like I'm sure you saw Beyond Meat.
Yeah.